Welcome back to the Spend Life Well Show, where we talk about all things faith and finance, aligning your wealth with your values. I'm certified Kingdom Advisor Mark Trice. I'm glad you've taken a moment to join our show today. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about the millionaires in our lives, or how to become a millionaire. Oftentimes when we hear the word millionaire, right, we often picture luxury homes, expensive cars, big yachts and things, or someone who maybe took a big risk and struck it rich, right? We often think these things, but for many millionaires, that's simply not the case. And today we're going to talk about how you stack up against typical millionaires, and what you can do to develop good habits to help you someday become a millionaire yourself. So most of the time, wealth is built slowly over time, okay? It is not winning the winning lottery ticket. What we see is that most people that play the lottery are poor, and they don't have good habits for that. So today we're going to compare some of the habits commonly found among millionaires with the habits of the average American. Today's scripture reference is Proverbs 13:11, and wealth obtained from nothing dwindles, but the one who gathers by labor increases it. So building wealth is not about getting lucky. More often, it's the result of making simple, wise decisions over a long period of time. And I think what we'll do here is talk about some of the misconceptions of millionaires. I want to reference a great book. It's been out for many, many, many years. It's The Millionaire Next Door. I'm drawing a blank on the author right now, but The Millionaire Next Door, it is a New York Times bestseller for decades. And you can pick up a copy of that or check it out at your local library, The Millionaire Next Door. And there's a misconception about millionaires. Millionaires don't necessarily earn a lot of money. Now, they typically have decent wages, good wages, but they don't have enormous income. And I think that's a misconception. Some millionaires do have high incomes, but the most that we've come in contact with over the years in our business and our practice of advising individuals and families on how to manage their wealth is they are just like your neighbor next door. They have a job, and they have set aside money and made good choices with their money, with their paychecks, to essentially live below their means. So research has shown that a large number of millionaires are just ordinary people, like you and I, but they spent decades living below their means. They might include teachers. Teachers are not extremely high earners. Engineers, small business owners, healthcare workers. We work with a lot of doctors and nurses and things, and they just simply make good choices over time. Their wealth did not come from just one big paycheck. It came from years of making intentional financial decisions. But how you manage that income often matters greatly. A lot of times, we'll see folks that are living paycheck to paycheck. Is that you? Are you barely getting by? Well, something's got to change with that. But I'll tell you that the most important thing you can do is get into a habit of saving regularly, okay? Consistency matters. A lot of folks will delay their investing because they're waiting for the right time, all right? What's the perfect time? I've got things going on. I've got, I'm starting a family. We'll wait until things settle down there. Millionaires approach those questions differently. They tend to develop a habit of saving and investing consistently over time. One of the easiest ways that you can be consistent is if you have a workplace retirement plan, is for you to contribute directly from your paycheck a certain amount, a certain percentage, every paycheck, every pay period over the long haul is going to build wealth. That doesn't always look exciting. It's not, a lot of people that call us up and they want to get rich quick. They want to invest in something like Bitcoin or the latest meme stock. That's not how you get rich. You build wealth by doing those little things consistently over time. Another thing that millionaires do that the average person doesn't do is they focus on what they can control. So no one can control the economy, all right? Several things are under the control of the investor. One of those things is how much they save, how much they spend, whether or not they have a financial plan, and do they stick with that plan? So 4 simple things: how much they save, how much they spend. Those are the 2 most important. Whether they have a financial plan, because we as Christians, we don't want to be investing just simply for the sake of investing. We have to have a plan and a purpose. And do we stick with that plan and purpose for investing? Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to advantage, but everyone who is in a hurry certainly comes to poverty." And I think that's something that's important. You must have a purpose for saving. It just can't be autopilot, I'm saving for some random thing in the future. You need to know what you are saving for. Is it retirement, a down payment on a home, whatever that may be? So another characteristic of millionaires is they live below their means. Okay, this might be something simple to us, but this is probably the least exciting thing on the list, or the least exciting habit, but it's one of the most important. Oftentimes, as our income increases, as we get further and further into our careers, we have something called lifestyle creep. In other words, I'm making more money now, so I'm going to spend more money. And that is a dangerous place to be in. We don't know for how long our pay will stay elevated. We don't know what might come our way, or something to distract us, like caring for an aging parent or having a child and wishing to stay home. So as that income increases, you don't want to always increase your lifestyle. We run into this a lot with doctors. They go from their residency to maybe an internship to being a full-time physician or surgeon, and their income goes from almost nothing to $500,000 in the span of a couple of years. And you see it. You know, we see the new class of residents come through, and they complete their residency, and they stay with that particular hospital or medical group, and the parking lot fills up with Beamers or Mercedes or really nice Teslas and things of that nature. That's okay if you want to spend your money there, but they're automatically letting their pay increase result in a lifestyle increase. You always want to leave room for saving, investing, giving, and preparing for unexpected expenses. That ensures today's spending doesn't prevent tomorrow's opportunities. From my own personal experience, there have been times when I was struggling with debt early in my career, before I even became a financial advisor, that there were golden opportunities that I could have taken advantage of if and only if I had my financial affairs in order. And I was a victim of this. I made more money, I spent it. And this is something I'm trying to encourage you to not do as well. You want to make sure that you're keeping your spending well below your means, so that you're able to do things that are important to you in the future. Another thing that millionaires do is that they think long term. Wealth for them is not about a quick hit or winning that lottery ticket. Wealth is usually built over many, many ordinary, boring, ho-hum years. Millionaires often make financial decisions with the future in mind, asking questions like, how will this affect me 5 years from now? Does this purchase fit within my overall plan? I don't know about you. Sometimes I'm guilty of making impulse purchases, and for some of us, some of us have the bad habit of making large impulse purchases. So does this fit within the overall plan? If you don't have a plan, you don't know the answer to that question, and that can derail you in your progress. And speaking of which, are you making progress towards your long-term goals? Millionaires understand that life comes with setbacks, but a temporary setback doesn't have to become a permanent detour. And keeping that long-term perspective helps people make calmer, less stressful, and thoughtful financial decisions. So how do you stack up? All right? Ask yourself, am I consistently setting aside money for the future? Am I living within my means? And do I have a written financial plan? If you don't have a written financial plan, we'd be glad to help you with that. And another question is, am I making financial decisions based on long-term goals instead of short-term emotions? And I'm sorry I used the word emotion, but a lot of the purchases that we make and the financial decisions are emotional decisions. And I'm guilty of it too. We have to take a step back. Does this decision help with my long-term financial goals? So, millionaires, not all of them were just lucky. Most of them made smart decisions over a period of many, many years. I'll share an anecdote for you. And not that I would want to live this way, but I remember a man in my hometown that I'd see him driving down the highway to going home every day. He drove an old Chevy pickup. I mean, this was 1950s Chevy pickup, and whenever he was out in town or if he went to church, he was wearing his overalls or coveralls, depending on what part of the country you're in. He's wearing his overalls, and he looked like he was the poorest guy in the entire world. When he died later on, he left many, many charitable gifts to many colleges, educational institutions, and nonprofit institutions to the tune of $20 to $30 million. Now, he lived well below his means. Maybe he took it to an extreme, but he lived well below his means, and he constantly had a long-term goal. And I found out from his brother later on that, in fact, that was his goal. He wasn't married. He was taking care of his parents, and he just wanted to benefit and help others. And he did that with his process of becoming a millionaire. So that consistency is what matters, not picking the right investments or taking a risk on a risky venture or a get-rich-quick scheme of sorts. So, folks, if you'd like to have some help building a financial plan that reflects your goals, your values, and the life you want to live, we'd be happy to help. You can contact us send us a text at 254-282-0495, 254-282-0495. We love to get suggestions for future programs, or if you have a question, you can also email us at info@clearvistafinancial.com. That's clearvistafinancial.com. And of course, check out our website and our YouTube page for all the different resources that we have available to help you along in your spiritual and financial journey. Until next time, you've been listening to the Spend Life Well Show.
Securities offered through Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Clear Vista Financial are not affiliated. Discussions in the show should not be construed as recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions.